Hi, what's your name?
I'm Lina.
I'm Nico.
I'm Joel. Nice to meet you.
My name is Andrea.
Liam Ward.
Marek, what's up?
Hi, I'm Gilda.
What happened to your voice?
I don't know.
Okay, that's not gonna be complicated, but we're gonna do it anyways. But were you partying a lot, or are you sick? What happened?
I just have allergies.
Oh, okay. Have you ever been in a relationship?
I've never.
Yes, I have.
I actually haven't.
Yeah. You're hesitating. Is that because it's hard to define really? Like,
Yeah.
The word relationship not
Yeah,
precisely accurate?
not like a serious relationship, no.
Okay.
More one time when I was like 15, for like 2 months with a girl, that's like kiddie shit. And then like, yeah, something more like informal later on. But yeah.
I mean, sounds like a relationship. It doesn't have to be long. There's like short-term relationships. Are you currently in a relationship?
Yes.
Have you ever been in a relationship before that?
Yeah, I've had like two, like my previous one and my current one.
I am actually, yeah.
Is this your first relationship?
This is now my second relationship. Second big relationship, you know.
Yeah, I get that. Lina, are you currently in a relationship?
I'm not.
Have you ever been in a relationship?
Yeah.
I am.
And have you been in a relationship before that, or is that your first relationship?
I've been in one serious relationship before it.
So, was there a lot of time in between the two?
Yeah, about 2.5 years.
Have you been heartbroken before?
I think we could, say that it was heartbroken, like disappointed that maybe something that I wanted to happen didn't happen between someone that I really like or something like that. So yeah, we could say that. Or someone that I really cared about disappointed me, but they were not necessarily my boyfriend, you know?
Give me one word to describe how your previous relationship ended.
Traumatic.
Imbalanced.
Imbalanced.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate slightly more on that?
Yeah. I think it was a relief for me, but it wasn't at all for him. And the breakup was way more difficult to accept for him. And so my breakup, like for me, it was more about seeing him being very sad rather than, dealing with the actual breakup.
Are you currently in a relationship?
No, I'm not.
So what happened?
So basically, I think the reason why it didn't work out anymore is because I wanted to focus more on myself. And I realized I can't really do long distance because even though we had a month of long distance, it's not that long, but for me it was super long. And I just focused too much on myself, I guess. And then I was too much into getting myself, improving myself, and I wanted to do that on my own and not while being in a relationship.
I mean, I think it's also really respectful to acknowledge that, and acknowledge as well the fact that throughout that month, right, you would not be able to give to the person what they deserve, right? Because you're aware of your own limitations and how, if you're capable of reading your own priorities and you're like, right now I need to work on myself, then I guess it's the right thing to do, right? To break up.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think in that situation I could have gave to her what she deserves, what she would have wanted out of it. So, no, I guess it was better for the both of us.
So I guess this breakup allowed you to work on yourself. Could you tell me what areas of your life improved following the breakup?
Screen time went down drastically. Managed to get structure in my life. Grades went up with trying less. I had more free time, but also managed to spend more time on studying, more time for myself. I don't know. I just had a lot more time to do things I wanted, things I to do well in school. I basically in everything.
So it turns out that you were right. You read the situation right, and the relationship that you had was in fact limiting to your own growth.
I don't know actually. So it did turn out well.
Yeah.
But I do think that if I put in the effort to make it work, that I could have done changes while being in a relationship as well. I don't know how, but it's in the past, and I feel like regardless, it has a good outcome for me. So
maybe it was a matter of time rather than the relationship. Maybe you were not at a moment in your life where you were willing to put that effort that you knew was necessary.
No, exactly. It was definitely not at that time. No, it was not for me anymore.
How long did it take you to, let's say, move on and be ready to date again?
Well, I think that I moved on way too, I didn't move on, I moved on by distracting myself with another person, I guess.
Would you? Okay, so
Like, I was definitely not over the other person when I like started things up with the next person, and I was like totally aware of that. Like, I even told them like, I'm really sorry. Like, I even tried to break things off with them because I said like, I know I'm not over my ex, and like I'm pretty sure like I'm just, because I'm very much a relationship person, so I really need like to always like have like, I just, whenever I have like something started with someone, I always want it to be like a deep personal connection. Like, I really don't value anything superficial or shallow, but I also get attached easily, so I would try to like warn the other person that, you know, I'm just kind of moving my feelings, but I'm not really over it, and they were okay with that, and they helped me work through it, I guess.
that's amazing. Like, at least you were honest about it, I guess. And I don't think you can blame yourself if the person is aware of it and they sign the contract in a way, you know. But then I was wondering, like, so you've done that, and looking back to it right now, would you say that that was beneficial for you in a way? Like, was that, if you had to do it again, let's say, and try to go through this moving on process again, would you do the same? What would you do differently, or would you just do the same? Yeah.
Well, I'm really happy with the person that I'm with right now, so it's not like I wouldn't have wanted to pursue things with them. But the reason why I said it was also traumatic with the other person is because I had this like long toxic struggle with them, because they really wanted to get back together, but the reasons why we broke up wouldn't change, so there was like no point to it, I guess. And if I could do something differently, like, it's kind of hard because the other person that I'm dating now came into my life like quite quickly, and it's not like I would want to push them away because I'm really happy in the place that we're in right now. So I guess just being like more gentle with myself, because I was really in such a like emotionally confusing place with the person that I'm with now and the person in the past, and it was all just like too much and overwhelming. So yeah, just trying to be gentle with myself. And I'm like you said, I'm glad that I was also like, I'm quite in touch with my feelings, and so then I was able to communicate a lot with the person that I'm with now about the whole situation. They were very understanding.
If I can ask, you don't have to go into the specifics of the details, but like, what happened? Why did the first relationship end?
Mostly just, honestly, I feel like I just couldn't grow any further with her. So eventually, when two people just can't grow together anymore, then at least in my situation, they just split apart.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. You're a very rational person. It's just stating the facts, and okay, that's amazing. And so I get, from the way you say it, it seems like it was a mutual realization. Like you both discovered that things were not gonna go any further. So would you describe the breakup as a good breakup in a way, like a healthy breakup?
The best the breakup can go, I think. Yeah, I mean, breakups are never fun, like never. But yeah, like wasn't any fighting or anything. So
yeah, that sounds like a pretty good breakup.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
You haven't been in a relationship, but that doesn't mean that you haven't maybe felt heartbroken, felt disappointed by someone before. Is that the case?
Yes, I have. A couple of times, in fact. Yeah.
I mean, it happens to all of us, right? I was wondering, when that happens, what do you usually do to try to move on from that?
I mean, I guess it might sound a bit cliche, but I would say like focus on myself and like my hobbies, like things that make me happy. I don't know, go out with friends. Yeah, like do things for myself, I would say.
I mean, I don't think it's that cliche, I guess. Have you had a lot of friends that have gone through breakups or heartbreaks, and you were the one that had to kind of help them go through that?
Oh, so many. Like literally most of my friends. I would say I'm kind of like the therapist of the group, in fact.
There's always a therapist of the group, I feel like.
Yeah, I think that's me, honestly. Like, even though I think I'm one of the only ones that has never been in like a proper relationship, I always give so much like relationship advice.
Hey, coaches don't play. Have you been through something that you could define as a breakup?
A mild version, sure, yeah.
Okay, so maybe a term such as heartbreak fits better.
Yeah, again, maybe a more mild version, something more like adjusting to reality. I think that's, I guess.
It's interesting because everything you say, like, you always add this like mild. Is it because you didn't suffer much from those experiences, or is this a way to like minimize them in a way? Because you seem like you're saying that you're accepting reality. Is that because I wanted to ask, how do you move on from these difficult situations, and is your way of doing that simply accepting reality?
I mean, maybe the reason why I like say mild is because like when I've seen like my friends go through breakups, it seems like much heavier than what I like thought and went through. And yeah, but also maybe you're right, like maybe the way I deal with it is through something like that, of like just like accepting like, that happened, like what do you do once it happens? Like you just kind of have to like focus on the next day, on what you do, really.
So you don't really express a lot about like when that happened to you, and when you ever felt that way. Did you express that a lot, or did you just internalize it? Because it seems like when you describe that most of your friends, when they went through it, it felt heavier. Is it based on things on feelings or like emotional reactions that you show? Like, I don't know, talking to your friends about it, crying, or is it rather like you internalize all these things, but in the end, there's still the intensity of those emotions are at the same magnitude?
I think what I saw from my friends was that they would like physically be like very down. Like it was difficult for them to like it would be difficult for me to cheer them up. It'd be difficult for me to kind of like get them out of their slump for quite a while. And for me, I mean, I would talk about it with one of my friends, with my friend Davide. And yeah, like sometimes it would just like not be the best days, but like but it's not like I looked like my friends looked, I think.
Yeah. And so when you were in the situation where you tried to cheer your friend up, what did you do?
I don't remember. It's happened a few times with a few different friends. It's hard because I haven't been like through like a serious relationship breakup. It's difficult for me to like empathize and like know like how exactly they feel. But yeah, usually I just try and like be there for them. Yeah. Just like be around them. If they don't want me to be there, obviously I leave. But like I like hear them out. I listen to what they have to say. Or sometimes I just like, if they look like they just need distracting, like just watch a show together or something like that. Like we just do that. And so I kind of like try and read the vibe of like, if they look like they want to talk, like I'm like all ears, and see if that like helps get some weight off their chest or like express their emotions. And if not, if they just don't want to think about it, I try and go with that. Yeah.
You say you struggle to empathize because you haven't been through a similar situation, but it seems like you're doing a lot of right things. So congratulations on that. And just being there like is already a lot. So I feel like from what you're saying, there's a lot to learn on like how you should be available, but also listening to the person's needs, not necessarily force your presence, but also be able to read. Because it's hard as well for people who are going through that to ask for help. So I guess like when you notice that people are in need of a distraction, it's also good to offer it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Nico.
Nice, thank you. It's a cool interview. The weather's nice as well.
Right? Cool setup. Am I right?
Yeah, it's sick actually.
How do you go about when someone disappoints you or something, or you're expecting things to happen with someone and they don't? How do you either distract yourself from that or allow yourself to move on from that? Like break those expectations, because in the end, like the potential remains, right? When you break up with someone, like the relationship ends, but when there was nothing in the first place, there's no real ending. So I guess it might be challenging.
So first of all, it's very important to focus on yourself, because at the end of the day, you can't be happy with someone else if you're not happy with yourself. You know what I mean? You need to keep doing whatever you like, pursue your hobbies, be with your friends. So just don't let this break your routine of your life. And also just consider that everyone has their own personal life. So not everyone is like a second character of your life. Everyone is a main character of their life, you know? Maybe there are valuable reasons that the situation didn't evolve into something more serious, and that's okay. And maybe even that was for the best, because I really believe that if the universe wants something for you, the best will happen, you know? So is that just realize that everyone has their life. There's a second picture of them that you don't know, and just because something didn't happen doesn't mean that it's your fault. it's really intersubjective. Like,
So don't blame yourself. Don't blame others. It's more complicated than that. And finally, so in those situations that you were in, were they originally friends with you?
some of them, yeah.
And so after you realized that nothing was going to happen, did the relationship, like the friendship, remain?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, I think it's a lot about communicating, and being mature about that. We're both adults. It's not gonna happen. Then it's not gonna happen, and just be very mature and chill about it. Like, it's not the end of the world, even though it feels like it. Like, I've been in that situation. The other person has been in that situation. We both know that it was hard, but it is what it is, and again, it's for the best.
Do you believe in right person, wrong timing?
Yes, definitely. So the thing was, with my ex, it wouldn't have worked in the first place with her if I met her half a year earlier. She only started to open up and communicate when we got together, and I feel like for me also, I guess I was a little bit worse at communicating a year before we met. So I guess it was the right timing when we met.
So if you had to give advice to people that are going or will go through the same thing, would you also say put emphasis on communication as well, or what type of advice would you give to someone who is trying to move on from a previous relationship?
I would say that the only thing that really helps is time, and it's very painful in the beginning, but you just have to be aware that everything that's going on in the moment, it will pass, and you kind of just have to, communication is very important, but just being in touch with your own feelings. And I think it's easier because men are always taught to push their feelings down as well.
True.
So it can be quite hard for them. It's easier for me because I've always been comfortable with my emotions, but my current boyfriend right now, he's always taught to push things under, and so it can take a lot of coaxing, I guess, to get him to understand what he's actually feeling. It could make it hard on the relationship.
What is the right time to start dating again after a breakup? How do you know?
That depends. The thing is, I don't think you do know. I do really believe that you need, after a breakup, you need at least a few months for yourself and spend time for yourself, get properly over it. But the thing with a new relationship, you don't know when it's gonna happen. You don't know when you're gonna find that right connection. Maybe that you meet a person that can actually help you get over the breakup properly, and then it's perfect. So I guess you don't really know until you meet the right person.
So I guess it's unexpected, right? You shouldn't be looking actively for the person because...
Well, the thing about that is you don't have to look. It's always unexpected, but looking for it increases your chances. But that does not necessarily guarantee it. It usually just comes by unexpected. Maybe
you can find a balance between looking and simply not closing your possibilities, remaining open to what could happen not pushing away the things that come to you, but not necessarily actively going out of your way to find them.
I guess the best way to have that kind of scenario is just to socialize, to put yourself open, not necessarily for a relationship, but just to meet new people, I guess. Friends, anything. And if it works out, it works out. If something doesn't work out. At least you get to meet new people.
And so, during your last breakup, you said that it happened because you needed time for yourself to work on yourself. Do you think the right person could have entered your life at that moment, but it wouldn't have been the right time, or would it become the right time because it is the right person? How do you imagine that would that be even a possibility or not?
At least the first 2-3 months, I don't think, regardless of the person, I would have had spent too much time on that person. I guess after that, maybe, yeah. But in the beginning, no. I really wanted time for myself. I wanted all the time I had, for myself.
Okay, my question is, how did you know that you were ready to date again?
Ooh, that's a very good one. That's a good question, man. Honestly, I think I just had a couple of weeks, maybe a couple of months of just being sad and not really doing anything, or just trying to cope with general stuff, like I don't know, music or sports was a big thing for me. And after a while, you just, I don't know, you get a certain craving again. It can be anything. It can be just a hug, or it can be a romantic thing, maybe even a sexual thing. And then you feel like I might be ready to date again. Yeah.
So it's really like you should listen to your body, right, and what it tells you. Like,
at least in my case, that was exactly what it was. Yeah.
Because what I mean by body is not necessarily like looking for, I don't know, like sex, but also I understand that when you're single for a long time, then you might start craving intimacy. Like we're social animals, we're social beings, and it's just like a natural need in us. What would you say your first breakup taught you?
It taught me that even if you're really into someone, you've really got to read those red flags, because they really don't go away. And
listen up.
And even if you your friends, they look at things a lot more neutral than you do.
Mm-hmm.
So if they're telling you that they don't really like the girl, you should at least hear them out.
Listen to your friends, all right? Okay, so interesting. And so I wanted to ask you, do you think the way you experienced your first relationship had some sort of impact on the second one? Like on the way you behave, the way you present yourself, and I guess the way you act inside, maybe also outside your relationship?
Yeah, definitely. It kind of taught me what I'm looking for, and in teaching me what I'm looking for, it kind of helped teach me how to act and treat others. Because, golden rule.
Yeah.
If you treat someone like shit, or if you're toxic, then that's exactly what you're going to get back.
In my experience, I have had moments definitely where I was intentionally looking for a relationship.
Yeah.
But it never worked out. It never got me to a long-term relationship. And that is in a very literal sense, because I think in the long term, it did get me to long-term relationship. Because I like I said, I was dating a bit in between, and I feel like the dating was a lot of fun, but it didn't really lead to anything. And that was the intentional part, like you intentionally go on a date, obviously. But in the long run, it got me to where I am now in a very happy long-term relationship. For instance, the last girl I dated, she got me into climbing, for instance, and then at the climbing gym, eventually I got to meet a bunch of people. I got to work there eventually. Amazing. And then the bunch of people knew the girl I'm with right now. So in that sense, doing intentionally, or at least in my experience, intentionally looking for a relationship didn't get me into a relationship right away, but it got me eventually where I am right now.
I guess it's like step by step. Like it doesn't necessarily bring you the relationship itself, but it brings you all the other things that you might need to build the person that you are now, and that is ready to find someone, I guess. 100%. I mean, dating, I guess you can see it as a trial and error in a way, and it just teaches you what you want and what you don't want, right?
Yeah, exactly, yeah. That's exactly, you're saying it exactly right. Like
we agree.
Trial and error, yeah.
I guess your friends are very happy to have someone like that to kind of give some advice all the time and always be maybe a bit more neutral about things. I don't know. Would you say you're proud of being the therapist of the group?
Yeah, I think I'm kind of proud. Like I really like giving advice to people. Yeah. Like sometimes I think it's easier to give advice to others than for yourself, actually. Yeah. So yeah, I kind of like being that person.
Yeah, that's totally true. And so, let's say like the last friend of yours that went through a breakup, what type of advice, like you don't have to be very specific about the situation in itself, but just how would you help a friend that's going through, as a therapist of the group? I'm kind of curious, just what's the type of things that you recommend your friend to do, or what do you do for your friend?
Okay, I mean, I guess the first thing is like to be really supportive. I don't know, like when someone goes through a heartbreak, like they have a couple of days when they're like really down. So basically like just do a couple of nice things for them, like I don't know, get them some food, propose some like cute hangouts together. And yeah, I always advise them, like what I said before, like for them to like focus on themselves, like do things that make them happy, and like
so you're there to help distract them in a way.
Yeah, basically like help them, like to take their mind off things and like do fun plans with them, I would say.
Do you think that time heals?
yeah, I do think time heals as well. And like, I guess also gaining more confidence in yourself. Sometimes like relationships can make you really insecure.
Yeah, definitely. You were saying that you kind of felt this obligation to, or moral responsibility to help this person go through the breakup. So you're saying that you did, and then, but you also say that you were not the right person.
No.
How do you find the balance between still being here, but also giving the person the space to move on?
I think try to not like give your advice because you're obviously like super biased about the situation.
Yeah.
But just let the person know that you're here to support him in like any ways, and if he want to talk or if he want to call you one day or if he feels like really down, then you're here for him. Maybe not try to just be the savior of the situation because you're clearly not like
You're not the person.
No, I would have rather prefer him to like talk to his friends or like families or like other people than me.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's also because I guess you feel guilty, and I guess that's something that can happen to a lot of people when they break up. It's like they feel the guilt because we talk a lot about how it's difficult for the person who's being dumped, but it's also difficult for the person who's leaving because you have some shared memories, there's still some affection for the person, and sometimes you stop talking to someone not necessarily because you want to, because you know it's the right thing to do.
Exactly.
And so
yeah, I can say something about that actually. I think I put a lot of stuff on the side like that I wanted to do, that I wanted to pursue to do, like just having contact the person and like, you know, get news from that person, that I just stopped doing because I knew that wasn't the right thing for him. And even like sharing some of my feelings towards, because we had the same friends, like the friend group, and I kind of stopped sharing how I felt because I didn't want it like them to tell him how I felt, and I just really wanted to prioritize how he, like, his relief. So I kind of put my feelings on the side for sure.
I guess that wasn't easy, but and so you said that you guys were from the same friend group, so that leads to my second question, which is like, how does it look? How does the relationship with this person look when you're in the same friend group, like after the breakup?
Well, I'm really happy that I have very mature friends who obviously continue to like keep like getting my news, like some of my news, and just, you know, chilling with me. But with the person, like, since we broke up, we basically didn't really have any contact. I contacted him a few times to just get some of his news, and we briefly talked because I saw that he wasn't comfortable just talking to me. Like, he wasn't very like natural. So I just stopped doing it. Also because our friends basically told me to maybe stop doing it because it was just reminding him of bad memories. So
fair enough.
I just stopped doing it.
But so it did affect the friend group then, because if you guys were part of the same friend group, but then you guys don't have contact, then how did your friends experience the breakup?
Like, for example, we had to not cancel, but like figure out, because we always go on vacation like once a year, and we had to figure out who would come, because we ended up like
it was one or the other.
Basically the conclusion was like either he comes or I come. And I went because he had other plans, but the balance for my friends, I think it was easy because I was abroad and he was living with them, like in the same city, so that was like an easy option. But then when I was coming there, obviously they would do plans without him, and when they would spend time with him, then they would let me know like, he's there, so maybe don't come. So I just compromise how you do.
So I guess your friends also have to do some compromises, because you don't want to choose, but you still have to respect the distance that these two people need. Would you say that in general, relationships are there's always something to learn from a relationship, and you should kind of go for it, or you should be careful with who you start dating in a way? Like, I guess it's pretty vague, because obviously if the person is a massive red flag, then of course you're not going to go for that, because you have some sort of idea of what you want, even though, as you said, each relationship teaches you more and more what you're looking for in a person and not. But I guess when you don't know the person, there's some things that you might have some doubts on, like, this person looks like this, or this person gives me this impression, but they might not. So how would you say that you should take the risk, or I don't know?
So it's a really tricky balance. Of course, like, if you're really into someone and you see these little red flags, as long as it For me, what I look for is if it sets off one of my red flags that I've like dealt with before in the past, it's an immediate no. But if it's one of those new red flags, if it's something that you haven't really dealt with before and that you don't really know how you're going to handle, you can go for it. A relationship, especially dating, isn't really that binding. It might feel really binding, but you can break up at any time. It might hurt your feelings, it might hurt their feelings, but in the end, it's way better in the long run than just staying there.
Definitely, thank you. That's so interesting. Now I wanted to ask you. So, when you were in that situation, where in your first breakup, right? Yeah. What did you do to help yourself move on in a way? And would that reflect what you would advise other people to do?
So I was kind of in a unique situation because I broke up the March of the COVID outbreak. Mm-hmm. So I wasn't... normally I would probably go hang out with friends and seek comfort in other people. But my family and I were pretty concerned, so we stayed home. I think I probably tried to just keep myself distracted. I really looked more into music and tried to explore new artists. I was really starting to get more into the hip hop scene. Mm. At that time, it was like Future and Trippie Redd and everything. As you go, you progress and you move on.
Just like relationships.
Exactly, just like relationships. And you move on. And personally, I'd recommend you hang out with your friends. You do things. It's just like you do when you're stressed. You look for things to distract yourself and to keep you in a good mental space.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. And so. I have the question, which is, what do you think about going no contact with someone that you're trying to move on from?
I think a lot of the time it's healthy. I actually did that with my first relationship. At first, when we broke up, we kept texting, and I'd get a call every now and then, maybe every week. Mm-hmm. And I realized that every time I got a call, it just put me in a bad headspace again and just made me angry and sad. Yeah. So, of course, just like with everything, it depends on the relationship. If it's a healthy breakup and you are pretty sure that things will stay healthy, there's no reason not to talk to them. But if it's something that you've really struggled with for a long time and you finally muster up the courage to move on, I might even recommend you go cold turkey.
Last question is, how do you feel about going no contact with someone?
It's horrible. I really hate it. I'm doing like 90% of it's because of him, just because I want him to feel good. Mm. But it's horrible because I spent 3 years with that guy and we shared like a lot and we were really young. So I think this kind of relationship are very special. Mm-hmm, yeah, of course. And the fact that I have no contact with him, I actually checked the other day and I hadn't contacted him for a year now. Yeah. It's super strange, like going from being little, like
this person was a lot.
Literally the heart of your life and then nothing. It's really strange. And now I just get news from him just through like our friends. Yeah. And that's it. It's really strange, but
do you foresee a future in which you guys can open up contact again in a, let's say in a platonic way? Like, you know what I mean? Like just because this person meant a lot for you and you just
even have friends. I think you can be friends with your ex. Like I'm really part of this team. And for sure, like when he feels ready, when he knows like he'll only get the good memories from that relationship, then I think I will be there.
So moral of the story, it's you can be there for an ex-partner as long as both of the people in the relationship are over it. Yeah. Do you think that people that were dating can remain friends after a breakup? I guess you've seen that as a therapist of the group.
Yeah, I think it really depends on the reasons why you break up. If the relationship was a bit toxic, then probably not. But if you break up because you realize that you're just very different people and like you clash on certain aspects, then I think maybe you could end up being friends.
Yeah, I guess if it's just like the romantic aspect of things that doesn't work, but then the chemistry, like friendship wise, is still there, then why would you give up on it? Yeah, I guess, but then you have to make sure that the two people are on the same page, right? Yeah, that's
for sure. Because if someone still has feelings, then I guess it's hard to remain friends. But if both of you guys like have moved on, then I think people can totally be friends.
Yeah. So I guess if you communicate well about it and things are clear, then
yeah, for sure.
So would you recommend as a as a way to, because for you it was I don't want to say it was easy, because of course breakups are never easy.
Exactly.
But at least there was some sort of agreement between the two.
Yeah.
I guess it can be more difficult when you feel like, when one of the person feels like the story that you have going on is not over. What would you recommend? Okay, two questions. First question is, would you recommend to a person that is going through that to date around and try to? Would you say that's a useful way to move on, or like does this have limitations? I don't know. You feel free to assess that. And the second question. Okay, first answer this question, and then I'll go with the second question.
Okay. So I did have a tiny bit with the ending of my first relationship.
Yeah.
So I can relate a bit. And for me, I would say, to an extent, listen to your body, like we talked about it before.
Yeah.
Because I think it's very important. If you're not ready for any dating, then you're not really going to get anything out of the dating.
Yeah.
It's not going to be fun for the other person. Like
Yeah, you might push it away as well.
Exactly. So don't push your luck in that case, in that sense. But on the other hand, after a certain mile, it's important to not like sag in that feeling, not stay too long in that feeling, because if you do, then you're gonna miss opportunities that otherwise you could have taken, and that could have helped you out of that slump. So
as you said, right, like when you were saying that you might not find instantly like the perfect relationship, but it's still like bringing you new things into your life, and that of course allows you to move on.
Going out
slowly
and meeting people is an important thing. Yeah, but it's so boring. But there's a balance to everything. Like it's such a boring answer, but yeah.
No. It's actually a very smart answer. And so my second question is a bit more broad. Is like, so what would be? I mean, are there any other things than dating around that you would recommend someone that is going through a breakup?
Honestly, I think it's very personal.
That's fine.
But depending on kind of your taste and stuff, or you know what, let's keep it a little bit more broad. I would say just expand yourself. Look a bit more inwards. It could be looking at if, like, for instance, you had a very aggressive breakup. It could be looking at how it impacts on you, or how maybe what you could have done better, even though that might not feel like the right thing to do at that point. But it could also be like looking at what you want to do next in life, apart from any partners or anything. Just meet new people. Maybe, I don't know, if you've always wanted to go surfing, do that, and then you meet new people at the surfing, stuff like that. So I would say broaden as a person, grow as a person, apart from any relationships. I think that
keep building your own life. Like, it doesn't matter, because people come and go, but at the end, what you do and what you are is what remains, right?
And also, what you are is gonna get you, or what you are and what you will become is what's gonna get you to the people that really love you.
Yeah. True, very true. I also wanted to say that, like, still drawing on what you said about kind of relationships can be a learning experience in a way, and that you have to look inwards. It's important to look inwards as well, and like maybe the things that you were doing wrong in the relationship, and kind of learn from them. Because, I mean, personally, in my own experience, I've tried very hard to, before I started dating again, after a breakup, I've worked very hard to try to not let some things that went wrong in my relationship, either because of the other person or because of me, impact my future relationships, right? If, for example, you've been disappointed by someone, and you don't feel capable of giving trust, then it's really something that you should work on. For example, like, this comes from personal experience, but definitely something that you should work on before start dating again, because it's something that the person that you will date in the future deserves, this trust, and what happened in your past relationship shouldn't justify like you not being able to give it.
Exactly. Yeah, I totally agree. I think in very exceptional cases, you can work on it in a next relationship, depending on how how almost like lenient the other person is, how sort of how relaxed that other person is, that you can sort of grow with each other. But in most cases, I would say try and look a bit inward, see if you can change anything about yourself or grow in certain ways.
Yeah, I feel like some people can, like, it's not necessarily something you have to do alone. Like, I guess not necessarily like friends, but also maybe a future relationship can help you heal from past trauma and past like influences from your earlier relationships. Do you believe in, I don't know if that's what they call it, but like band-aid relationships? Like, there's a, because that's the extreme, right? That's the extreme where, like, it's a known thing where when people are hurt, they start dating someone else to kind of heal.
Yeah.
But then it's a band-aid, right? So once you're healed, you drop it.
Right. Oh, that's that's
It just made me think about it.
No, 100%. That's very good question. Yeah. I do believe in it, and not intentionally. I've been a culprit myself. I've definitely started dating other people just because I felt like there was lacking something, and it turned out that there was lacking something in my personal growth, and not necessarily just having a significant other. So yeah, I've definitely had that in the past.
You can also date from boredom, I guess, right?
Yeah, I guess so. It wasn't the case with me, but yeah, definitely. I guess it's also a thing. And also, I mean, dating is such a broad thing. Yeah. People date for all kinds of reasons, so yeah.
Yeah. And I, like, the reason, I mean, if you're not necessarily, like, what we're talking, right, like, there's still some learning that you have to do. If you're able to communicate that well to your partner and your partner is just willing to accept that, then I guess it makes it less problematic. Like, of course, that doesn't allow you to be an asshole just because you communicated well that you had some trauma that is unresolved. Yeah. But I guess, like, communicating about it is also, like, a good beginning.
100%. Communication is such a big thing. It's like the foundation of everything. Yeah. If you don't communicate, then eventually you're gonna bump into something, and if you don't communicate to get over that, then it might just break off almost instantly. Yeah, it's communication is it's key.
Moral of the story: communication is key.
Exactly.
Thanks a lot, man. Nice meeting you.
Man, of course.
We're just chilling in the elevator right now. Like, we have the chair ready. Like, the mic is ready, and whoever walks in, like, hopefully they will be down to just sit and chat with us for a minute. But yeah, now let's wait. Could you describe in one word your last breakup?
Chaotic.
Slow.
Very bad. Like.
Very bad.
Situationship. Recent.
Give me one sentence that you would tell someone that's going through a breakup right now as an advice.
Time heals everything.
Time heals everything. Thank you so much.
Well, good.
It'll pass. Like, don't worry. Just, like, don't be stressed about it. You know, you'll find someone new and everything.
Don't put expectations on yourself about how you're meant to feel, and give yourself time to work out your feelings.
Yeah, like, just feel them, really.
Yeah. That's all.
Just give it time. Don't move on too quickly.
Don't try too hard. Just
let emotions flow, and then you'll get where you need to be at one point.
To take time for yourself and to hang out with your friends and really, like, breathe. So.
Thank you.
Of course.
Have a good day.